Internet, Eric here. Well, finally going back to Tromaville after all this time. I'm finally going to finish the Toxic Avenger series, and I'm finally going to talk about Citizen Toxie, Toxic Avenger Part 4. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I discuss plot spoilers, can't fucking talk. Plot spoilers, specific themes, and whatever else. So this came out in 2000. The basic plot of this is um, apparently, this is the official sequel to Toxic Avenger 1, which I dislike, even though, because there is an opening narration from Stan Lee. Well, people saying that parts 2 and 3, basically the history of the Toxic Avenger films, and they mention 2 and 3 and they say they didn't really exist because they sucked. I beg to differ because if you watch my last discussion video, I guess you would say, on Toxic Avenger Part 3, that is probably my favorite one. Anyways, we're now following what has happened now is the Diaper Mafia, which is a bunch of terrorists, I guess you'd say terrorists that live in America, domestic terrorists, dressed up in as babies, like basically like Baby Huey. They've taken over the school for the mentally challenged. I don't know how it's worded in the movie, and Toxie shows up with his sidekick Lardass. And there is a bomb. The bomb goes off. Toxie is knocked into an alternate dimension. So Troma, which is basically, think of it like Bizarro World. Toxie is knocked into Amortville, which is Tromaville, Troma spelled backwards. And he has to deal with an evil Sergeant Kabuki Man and all of the evil Toxic Avengers gang. While the evil Toxic Avenger, known as the Noxious Offender, is brought into Tromaville and causes problems in Toxie's name, and basically Toxie and two of the special students who try to find a way to get back into the real world, I guess you would say. Okay, that's it in a nutshell, but there's so much more to this. I will say this right now. This is not a bad thing when I say this, in my opinion, because I love Troma films. This is probably the most offensive movie in the Toxic Avenger series, and I will get to that. First off, though, Toxie is great in this. The makeup is so much better. Like I liked it in parts 2 and 3, but it is so much. You can't really see it too much with the glare, but it's so much better in this one. The voice is still dubbed, but it syncs up perfectly. The makeup moves perfectly with the actor's mouth. Toxie is still cool. Toxie is still likable. And he's still violent because of the traumatons that cause him to defeat evil, but he is still really, really cool, and all he cares about is getting home to his girlfriend and protecting the two special students. So I love the Toxic Avenger. Sidekick-wise, he's given two sidekicks, in Amortville. A little girl named Sweetie Honey. She is hilarious. She is very innocent, very sweet. Not the stereotypical mentally challenged person that when it comes to being offensive and making fun of those type of people. That sounded really horrible. Anyways, she's funny. She brings a lot of comedy. The other person Toxie is with is the stereotypical person with mental how do I say this? Mentally challenged, I guess you'll say. Tito, he has the voice, he has the way the hands move, and he is just a prick, and I know he's supposed to be, but he was so unlikable, I didn't like any time he was on the screen. Now, let's talk about the Noxious Offender, Bad Toxie. Really, really good at being bad. He's a rapist, he is a drug addict, super, super violent, kills anybody, little children, anything that gets in his way. So, and it's the same actor, obviously. So he is a really great villain and a really great foil for Toxie, especially when they get together. There's other characters like in Amortville, Sergeant Kabuki Man basically runs the mafia. In Tromaville, Sergeant Kabuki Man is now a cowardly drunk, which is hilarious. I love that. And then there's other people thrown in. But the main reason to watch this is for good Toxie, bad Toxie, and they are fantastic. The violence in this is super over the top, even compared to Part 1 and Part 3. In this, we have arms being ripped off, people being impaled, kids being killed, heads getting shoved through asses and coming out the other end. There's poop, There's blood, there's guts, there's vomiting, there's decapitation, there's a because it was in the news at this time. There was a black man who was tied to the back of the bumper of a car, and he's dragged until he's just a head left over, and he ends up becoming a sidekick. He is actually funny, but the violence in this is so over the top. It's comical, it's cringeworthy. It's about 50-50 for me, because sometimes it's great, sometimes it's really too much. Like the heads going up the asses type of thing. That's stupid. Um, Sexual, there's lots of nudity, lots of sex, lots of gay sex, lots of, man on man, on woman. They're, like I said, they go all out in this one. So I mean, even Toxie, when he transports, he gets transported into the middle of a threesome, and he's in the middle of the man going at it. So there's literally no holes barred in this movie. So the sexual situations are totally out of control. The action is really good. I love the fights. There's some really good action sequences with a car. I love when Toxie and Noxie are going at it, and it's literally like Star Wars, because Toxie has a green mop, Noxie has a double-sided, so it's like Phantom Menace, a double-sided red mop. That's really cool. Eventually, we find out that the Toxic Avenger's wife, or, well, she was married in part 3, but I guess they're just now girlfriends. That part's confusing. Is pregnant with Toxie's baby and Noxie's baby. Because she is blind, she doesn't realize that it's the Toxic Offender banging her, and until it's too late, it happens. So now she is in a very funny scene with Corey Feldman as the gynecologist. He explains that she is now pregnant with 2 babies from 2 different fathers, and we even, like, during the fight between Toxie and Noxie, we get a close-up on the inside of the womb, and we have some practical effects of the 2 fetuses, complete with mops, fighting each other and everything, and it is disgusting, and it is brutal, and it is amazing, and I love it. There's not much I don't like about this film. Some of the gay stuff, like the gay sex, and like the alternate universe version of Lardass, who he's just down on his luck and he's blowing guys in the alley for money. That stuff does get old after a while. Eventually, Ron Jeremy's the mayor, and he brings out superheroes to stop Noxie, and of course it's Drunken Kabuki Man, and then we have Dolphin Man, who was created, I think, by the E! Channel, E! News Daily or whatever, and then we have a mixture of a sex addict and a rap star called Master Bader, and it's just a bunch of jerk-off jokes, and then you have a female sex robot superhero called the Vibrator, and all she does is get off on herself, so that kind of stuff gets old, and it gets old really quick. But like I said, based on just watching the 2 different versions of the Toxic of Toxie, is worth watching this alone. Stunts are amazing. We still get our cameos. We have Lenny in there. Eli Roth is a scared bystander. James Gunn is basically a Stephen Hawking type character, and he gets taken out by a car, which is amazing. The documentary on this, Apocalypse Soon, shows how close someone was to getting hurt doing that stunt. Highly, highly recommend Toxic Avenger 4 or Citizen Toxie. I don't like how they try to erase parts 2 and 3, even though I wasn't a big fan of 2. I loved 3. I just think that was just dumb. They could have made it work. And then also there's no mention, like the only difference is now the girlfriend's name is back to what it was in the first one, and because it was changed in the second and third one for some stupid reason. We get the original Melvin comes back, Mark Torgel, in a really cool scene. But then, of course, they have to make it stupid because he starts humping Toxie's leg. So that scene's 50-50. Violence is great, like I said. Arms ripped off, impalement, stuff like that. I like this. There's a scene where Noxie is partying in Tromaville, and it's just him partying at like the Playboy Mansion. That's really cool. He's doing some cocaine, and he rubs his nose and making fun of Citizen Kane. He says nose blood instead of rose blood. So, a lot of the jokes work. The stunts are great. Someone set on fire, another great fire stunt. not my favorite. I would still have to say I would put this under the first one and definitely under the third one, but it's better than part two. The reason why I say that is because, like I said, a lot of the just gay jokes to be gay jokes, sex jokes just to be sex jokes, that stuff just really gets annoying. There's lots of poop. There's lots of farts. I really hate that stuff. So that is a big, big, big negative in my book. But overall, Citizen Toxie, Toxic Avenger 4, it's worth seeing, especially if you're a fan of the first one, because it is a good follow-up. But yeah, highly, highly recommend Citizen Toxie. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. Comment below. Tell me what you think about this one. Do you prefer all the stuff that I hate? And vice versa. I'm rambling. It's late. I'm tired from work. So I will say like, subscribe, click the bell, all that shit. Thank you to the new subscribers. Things I have planned is I'm eventually going to start the Tremor series per request. I'm eventually going to get back to the Ninja Turtles movies. And then fuck off, I know what I'm doing. But cheers.